Good evening, this is Snakebear, and I'm bringing you a 2 versus 2 battle on the Silver Spire, one of my favorite maps in Total War Warhammer. I'm playing Mousillon together with, what's his name? Vitamin, who's playing the Empire. And we're facing off against Waffles, who are playing the Vampire Counts, together with Rifis, who's playing the Carcassonne. As for army compositions, my army is led by the Red Duke himself on a zombie dragon, and obviously I'm bringing Invocation of Nehek and Raise Dead. My main line consists of the Sternsmen and 2 Graveguard, and they're being screened by the Tithe, the literal only use that they're good for. I do have a rear guard of 2 Skeleton Spearmen and a flanking force over here supporting my allies of Crypt Horrors. On top of that, I do have 2 Blood Knights hidden in this forest together with a White King on a Barded Nightmare. I did bring 2 Fellbats as a contingency plan, because you never know what you're going to face when you face both a Bretonnian faction and a Vampire faction. I mean, both of them can bring flyers, and at least Bretonnia can bring a lot of archers, and I didn't really have that many ways to deal with them, so these are just my contingency plan. Let's look at my ally. The Empire army is led by a general of the Empire on a horse, and he's accompanied by a large contingency of heroes. He has an Empire captain and 2 wizards, a light wizard with the net spell and a jade wizard with earth blood. And for his main line, we have 3 units of swordsmen and 2 great swords. He has a rear guard of 4 spearmen and a ranged force led by the Silver Bullets and 2 other handgunners. This is supported with a unit of Flagellants. And on his flank over here, he has obviously 2 Demigryph Knights with halberds. Let's go over to the Carcassonne forces. They're being led by the Fey Enchantress, and she brought everything. She has all the spells and all the abilities and mounts and shit. And no heroes. Her main line consists of 4 foot squires. Behind them there is a peasant bowman with fire arrows. Very small infantry contingency, but she did bring a lot of cavalry. She has 2 questing knights and a Grail Guardian. Over here, this unit is hidden. But it is a Knights of the Realm ready to spring if we decided to do some attempt at flanking over here. But the real danger of this army are flying over it. The Royal Pegasus Knights. I was really scared that she would bring these, because if she gets into my lord, he's going to die very quickly. I mean, if they reach him, 20 seconds and at least 20 seconds. No, even less maybe, and he's gone. So I really need to watch out for these and try to deal with them quickly. As for the Vampire faction, no heroes, but they are being led by Vlad von Karstein himself, and he is bringing essentially everything except for the Curse of Years and Dance Macabre. Let's look at his main line. 4 Graveguards supported by 3 Crypt Horrors. He has 2 Skeleton Spearmen on his flanks and a single one as a rear guard. Very stable main line here, very dangerous. He has a unit of Blood Knights, and here's a bit of a controversial choice. He brought 2 Cairn Wraiths. I mean, they do bring both ethereal, armor piercing, and they cause terror. Very powerful, but bringing 2 of these might not be the best of choices, especially not if he does not manage to get enough terror routes out of that. That's it for the army. So let's talk tactics here. Before we even saw how the enemy was positioned, me and my ally had already decided that for the best use of our units, he would just position his main line all over this center passageway, and I would position my center line or my main line over here, so we could overwhelm one side. I did bring my Skeleton Spearmen over here if the enemy was going to try some flanking maneuver. But here's the issue. As soon as we loaded in, we saw that the Empire faction had literally just taken up home over here near the right passageway, and we did not really have the tools to deal with this two-front war, a two-front engagement in this scale. So our first mission was just to try to convince him to move his troops over back here. I mean, my Blood Knights are invisible so far, but let's see what happens when we start this engagement. Let's see. The first thing I do is we're all just moving up, trying to push this engagement. We're all charging just to make sure that they don't feel that the Bretonnian player can hold this front himself. We're just trying to trick the Vampire player to move over here. Meanwhile, my ally is trying to move one of his Demigryph's Knights over to the flank. I am trying to move my Skeleton Spearman over here as well, just to show him that there is no reason to move your whole army over here. Just move it, just come down here, much safer, much better. And he is falling for this. He is now moving and positioning all of his troops around here, building up a very strong right flank. But he is still bringing his Blood Knights over here. And I do feel that that single unit of Blood Knights can be very dangerous. So I've decided to build a bit of a trap for him. I am keeping the Blood Knights, the White King, and the Spears nearby. Okay. We have now seen the enemy finalizing their positioning over here. So I've decided that I'll just try to put my Grave Guard over here, bracing, so they can really take that charge from the Crypt Horrors. And now we do see the Demigryph's Knights getting nearby, and they're getting the attention of the Questing Knights. I mean, the Questing Knights would lose that engagement, but it would keep the Demigryph Knights from joining the fight. I am moving up my Fellbats just to screen a bit if the Pegasus Knights move too close. And now we do see some action. First thing that happens, the net from the Empire player just totally locking the Questing Knights out of the battle for the opening moments at least. Very good engagement. My Sternsmen and my Grave Guard and the Tithe are accepting the enemy charges into them. This is not a good engagement for either of us, but it's slightly better for me because my Sternsmen are going to hold this. They're not going to fall. And we can see the Blood Knights keep on moving up. Okay, my units just turned visible, and I do think that the enemy is a bit confused over what he's supposed to do. Oh, let's watch this. I did move in my Fellbats just to keep the Royal Pegasus Knights busy. I'm sacrificing them because I'm moving up my Lord to put down a zombie unit right over the archers just to make sure that they can't continue firing. I could probably have used the Fellbats better, but they're expendable. I mean, it's in their unit card. Let's get ready to see what happens with the Blood Knights in the back line. Let's watch this. And the trap is now being sprung. I am retreating with my Red Duke because my bats won't hold for long. The zombies are there interrupting the archers. For some reason my enemy decided to charge the Demigryph Knights. This is not a good engagement. This is a pure loss for the Blood Knights. They cannot stand up to Demigryph Knights. And so I'm just moving my Spearmen up to lock them in so they can't retreat. And I'm bringing in my own Blood Knights just to finalize the annihilation of them. Also, the Questing Knights are returning to the fight. I am keeping my Crypt Horrors back just to try to discourage anything fancy going on over here. And we are going to see some spell action finally going on. Let's zoom in here. This is the first and only spell. Maybe I said too much here, but yeah. We are going to see a Wind of Death. It's not positioned that good, and my ally is started to move away, but yeah, it just didn't do enough damage to motivate the huge amount of Winds of Death that cost. I throw down an Invocation of Nehek while I sneak my White King behind the enemy lines. I do want that pot shot on the Fey Enchantress. I mean, there are a lot of units around here, but they don't have any proper tools to deal with the White King. And here we see another key moment. The Pegasus Knights have actually dared to charge down. They are now in melee. They are finally on the ground, so me and my ally were doing everything we can just to make sure that those Pegasus Knights are gone. We have destroyed the Blood Knights completely, and I'm moving up my own Blood Knights to try to chase these guys off. I keep rear charging with my Blood Knights, or flank charging really. They just keep bouncing there, cycling. And my other unit Blood Knights are finally reaching the cab compartment of the Bretonnian faction. They're not that happy about that. The White King is very sturdy here. Like I said, they don't actually have any tools to kill him. I mean, he can't really kill them either. I mean, there's a Grail Guardian and 2 Foot Squires over here, but they can't bring him down. And now I decided this was taking too long, so I columned up my Blood Knights and just snuck through the forest part here. I mean, he is trying to stop me by summoning zombies, but I do get a perfect charge into the enemy line. Also, a Shield of Thorns going off over here. I did notice a bit of a sneaky move here that I'm going to show you. I noticed that. Look who's back. The Pegasus Knights are back, and they are dangerously close to my allies' ranged line. And I mean, they still have half ammo left. I need to save them. So I'm already preempting it by moving my Blood Knights in as support. They do get in a charge, and they do get a lot of kills, but yeah, that's the end of the Pegasus Knights. Let's see how the battle goes over here. By this time, my enemy have moved over both of their lords to the right flank of the battle. The Sternsmen are still standing strong. I mean, they're just super incredible. I'm just flying over here, slapping down Invocation. Actually, no, it was... yeah, that was Undeath Resurgent. I did notice that my ally actually heals me for quite a lot as well. The Earthblood actually works on undead units for some reason. I keep charging with my knights as well, just bouncing them back and forth. And now I decided that since both of the lords are engaged over on the right flank, I am charging in with Red Duke, just straight into the middle over here. I mean, the leadership of these units aren't great to begin with, and now I'm adding a terror unit. Unfortunately, Vlad von Karstein is answering to this very quickly, and I actually believe that he is charging my lord. But I won't have any of that, so I've already given my lord an order to leave this battle. I am charging in my White King to try to prevent any more shenanigans from the lords. And just look at that charge, look at that charge. Boom. That's a fifth of the HP from one hit from my White King. I managed to charge in with my Blood Knights again. By this time I've had enough. We need to do something. So I am moving my Blood Knights over here instead. I'm switching flanks. Same with my Red Duke. Because these units, they're not going to be happy for very much longer. I'm going to move my Red Duke and move straight into here. They've already received a large penalty in leadership from being rear charged. and now they're going to be terror charged by a huge ass dragon. They're not going to be happy. The dragon is just tearing everything apart. Sternsmen, I mean, they've already reached their limit for regeneration, but they're still standing strong. They've held against so many different kinds of units for this battle. I mean, we are seeing some general crumbling over here. This flank has fallen. All of them are crumbling now. And here the armies are suffering from the army loss penalty is just too big, so yeah, this was the end for it. I hope you enjoyed this. I will soon jump to the statistics screen and we'll talk a bit more about that then. Let's see how my troops did. I'm actually very surprised that the Red Duke managed to get that many kills, since the only thing he did was rear charging for terror support, really. White King, not that surprised. I mean, there were zombies in the mix, and that's the spear unit that managed to trap the Blood Knights. And well, I need to point this out. The kills is a bit convoluted here because there was very frequent zombie spam made on both sides here. I know I kept an extra eye on this Graveguard, and those kills are mainly from skeleton spearmen and zombies. But still, that's a very impressive number for a Graveguard. The Sternsmen, half health and 80 kills. They're just such an amazing unit. I don't see any reason to never not bring them. Blood Knights performed decently in general. They never got to any super squishy targets. There weren't really any super squishy targets, to be honest. Fellbats, they did what I wanted them to. They are expendable. It says so on the unit card. Pretty good performance by the Cryptor as well, supporting that flank. Let's look at Vitamin. I'm actually surprised. This is kind of weird because he's got a lot of kills with his hero squad over here. I mean, these two wizards didn't even bring any damaging spells, so this is from them being in melee, which is kind of brave and weird, I guess. You can't say that much about his general main line because they're not supposed to get kills. I mean, this is good for them. Great swords, pretty good, but the main component here that really shone were the handgunners, the magic bullets, and of course the demigryphs, and the spearmen. The spearmen, I don't even know where that came from, but 45 kills on a single spearman is awesome. But you gotta remember, 49 and 48 kills. These only shot at key targets. I mean, these kills were all super important. Okay, let's look at Rifus. It's kind of hard to comment on this because a lot of these kills are from zombies, since I summoned a lot of them right on top of these units. But you expect their main line to actually get kills. It's what they do. This foot squires are good at getting kills, even though that they may not stand up to whatever, they do kill shit. We did manage to lock down the bowman. 24 kills was actually a lot compared to what I thought we allowed it to get. I mean, the cavalry component did get kills, but they didn't really pay for themselves. We managed to shut them down through different means too early for them. Biggest disappointment for this fight was the Royal Pegasus Knights, because remember, this dude killed my Fellbats, so most of these kills are actually from that. So this one was simply taken out too early to perform anything. Let's look at Waffles. General, very good performance in general. Vlad can always get a bunch of kills. The Spearmen and the Graveguards, a lot of kills, probably zombies and other trashy units. Crypt Horrors did good as well. Main issue though was the Cairn Wraiths and the Blood Knights. I mean, the Blood Knights was handled very early, very quickly. Um, I mean, that's 1,700 points just down the drain. That's a lot, and they need the rear charges from cavalry. The Vampire Counts needs that. Um, and then we do have the Cairn Wraiths. The Cairn Wraiths, I mean, we did see a couple of terror charges in there, which was good. Um, but I feel that even compared to the Grave Guards, these guys just do not perform. Maybe bring one or another kind of unit that brings terror to get that into your army. Uh, but I would say that these units versus other undead or empire isn't necessarily the best choice you could have gone, especially with such a large investment. Um, as a final critique, I did point out some spells going off, um, but I must say that one of the biggest advantages Vitamin and me had was that we were frequently spamming Earthblood and Invocation of Nehek. Meanwhile, I never saw a single Invocation of Nehek going off from Waffles, and I never saw a single Earthblood go off from Rifus. Um, I did see a couple of buff spells from Rifus, mainly aimed at his Grail Guardians, which explains why they did get a few kills, I guess. We did see a Wind of Death from Waffles, but not much else. So they could probably have saved some additional points from their lords, and they should probably have tried to get some better use out of those healing spells. Well, either way, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll upload something soon again. Bye bye.